So what I'm looking at what's happening in Ferguson, can I say it's surprising? No, I'm sorry, it's not. But no reflection or no demeaning in any kind of part of what's happening in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm looking at each and every city need to be concentrated on what's happening in their city, what's happening in their state. Because what we have with Ferguson and what Ferguson proves is that we have a system that's broken. I've never seen anywhere. Somebody need to show me where there's a supermajority of a grand jury where there's a supermajority of black folks. The Ferguson grand jury was 9 whites, 3 black. The grand jury we had here for Chris Thomas was maybe 2 or 3 blacks, the rest of them white. The grand jury we had for Patrick Humphrey, grand jury we had for Cameron Massey here, grand jury we had for Trayvon Martin. When are we going to have a supermajority black grand jury? It's supposed to be a grand jury, and the jury is supposed to be a jury of peers. White people and black people have different lives. That's the first thing we see from Ferguson. But the other thing what I see is that we have to consider the fact that, Ferguson reflects on what's happening with militarianism coming up in our law enforcement. We have completely lost a cohesion between our law enforcement and our communities everywhere. Now, where do I think the concentration should be? On your own city. Here in Dothan, Alabama, we have the Chris Thomas case. Y'all got Darren Wilson in Ferguson. We got Darren Moody right here in Dothan, Alabama, who's a former police chief, said that he escalates situations, needs anger management, has domestic violence issues, and then, we got 2 experts now who have clearly showed that scientifically that Darren Moody could not have ever been in front of the car that Chris Thomas was in scientifically. That's public record for anybody want to go look it up. So is that probable cause enough for our district attorney Doug Valeska to go and indict Darren Moody on perjury like he did those 2 women who thought they seen something or whatever? Well, it's proven now by experts that he lied. So, Ferguson, I hate to say it's typical, but it's typical of our system with the disparities, the drug war that the government been funding for 40 years that just shows that it's just a war on minorities. The disparity in sentencing. We still here in the South suffering from people getting life sentences for marijuana. Wow, we got 2 states in the country where it's legal to have, smoke, and whatever, possess marijuana. All these things are what we need to be focusing our energy on, that we have a system that is broken. We have a big split between our law enforcement and our communities. There's no cohesion, and we got a lot of things to focus on. Michael Brown's case is a case that highlights the inconsistencies, that highlights the brokenness of our system, that highlights the disparities in our jury pools, in our grand juries, and it's all across America. Now, for those of you in the wiregrass, you need to focus on the Cameron Massey case. Cameron Massey got killed, shot in the passenger seat of a car, both feet on the passenger side, with a seatbelt on, following the law with a seatbelt. Some people are going to say, oh, he was this, oh, he was that. Did that warrant him to be killed? These are the things we most focus on. Oh, Patrick Humphrey, a mother called for help for her son who had mental challenges and mental illness, and he ends up getting killed. In the wiregrass, we got Michael Brown cases to focus on. We could go as far back as the Star Reynolds. We could go as far back as the young man Smith that got killed in Eastgate with his hands tied behind his back. We could go as far back as Bezo. We could go and look at cases that resemble this. When are we going to address our system, our law enforcement, and where is the accountability? In Alabama, we don't even have accountability to where we could get open records requests from our law enforcement. We can't even get an incident report on some time for the public. That's supposed to be public record. So these are the things that we need to focus on. Protesting for Ferguson, that's great. but let's protest for what's happening in your city where you at and your people, because we need protection for our children too. Otherwise, we're going to have another Michael Brown, another Chris Thomas, another Cameron Massey, another Justara Reynolds, another old Patrick Humphrey. And then what? We're going to protest again? Or are we going to address it now? Thank you.